What's going on, guys? It's Al King, aka Big Al, and this is episode 7 of Throne Breaks. Today we have a guest interview lined up. I rip open a UFC optic box, and I ask a question that I saw on Sports Card Nonsense Twitter that I'm about to ask right now. I'm curious where we think we're going to be in 3 months with some of these guys. 2 months' time, really, I guess. Even a month and a half, right? However long football playoffs are, NFL playoffs. And as you can see, I'm wearing my Throne Break shirt that Pablo Mean Bean Game 24 on Instagram made me. That was in last week's episode. It looks great. It fits great. It feels great. I'm super stoked. Yeah, I mean, I guess hit me up if you want some. I think we can go all sizes, Mean Bean. I don't know. But hit me up if you want some Throne Breaks merch. It's pretty cool. And on that note, we're also going to start. I already go live on Why Not Running Singles. Hopefully, we're going to have product in soon where we'll be running breaks too. Yes. Sweet. Let's get into that question that I was talking about, the NFL playoffs. On Sports Card Nonsense Twitter, it says, put your money where your mouth is. Who are you buying before the NFL playoffs? Who are you buying before the NFL playoffs? Is it only quarterbacks that are there? Is it one quarterback in particular that you're going all in on? Is it all the Eagles players because they're about to win the Super Bowl? Who are you buying? Me, personally, I've always been a big Jalen Hurts guy. If I had to go out, I would maybe look for Jalen Hurts. I'm kind of slow playing my single purchasing right now, but I think Jalen Hurts is a safe one. And then, honestly, if you want to take a risk, then T-Law to win a couple games. But really, A.J. Brown is a surprising name. You can get some Titans rookie cards of him. But who are you buying? I'm curious to know. Who are you buying? Who are you going all in on for the NFL playoffs? Are you even buying anyone? Is now the wrong time to buy? Which some would say yes. I kind of lean that way. Now's the wrong time to buy. But are you one of those guys that gets in on the front end? Guys or girls that gets in on the front end of the playoffs and buys a guy or two and then flips it 3 weeks later? Or is the buying window already done? And now you're just hoping that the guys you did buy in season or prior to the season have a run in the playoffs. I want to know. Let me know in the comments. I'm checking on these comments every single time they go live on YouTube on Wednesday. We are live Saturdays at 7 p.m. as well. As you know, you can come in and live chat. I would love to see live interaction during this. I'm free Saturday nights now mostly. So, heck yeah, I'd love to see you guys all there live and, answering these questions as they come up. All right, as I mentioned before, we have a guest interview on. Today's guest goes by RDG_99. You know him as Ross from Bled Sports Cards. He no longer works there. I no longer work there, but we met while I was working there. And honestly, one of the most genuine people I've ever come across. He moved back home to Iowa. And, I'm stoked he did. He's going for all the right reasons, closer to family and everything. But without further ado, here is the interview with Ross about his unique collection. What's going on, guys? I'm here with Ross, a.k.a. RDG_99. That's his handle across. Is that even your gamer tag, Ross?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, whatever you want.
Yes, everything RDG_99. Ross and I are good friends. We met while working at Bled Sports Cards together, and he kind of rose the ranks there, and he has a unique collection. That's kind of why I wanted to bring him on. A lot of people don't collect, or I think a lot of people do collect the way he does, and I'm just not aware of them. But Ross, thanks for taking the time and hanging out.
Yeah, of course. I love the show. It's a lot of fun to watch every week, seeing what... I'm new to the hobby too, so it's fun to see everyone's different point of view.
Sweet. Hey, are you in, what room is that? Who's the Yankee fan? Is that your room?
This is my bedroom, yes.
Okay. That's sweet. Yeah, I like the Yankee logo. Is that Jeter back there?
Yeah, that's my Derek Jeter jersey. I got signed.
Dude, that's really cool. The captain is like, he's one of my all-time favorite players ever.
Yeah.
And I'm not a Yankee guy.
He's the reason I am a Yankee guy, so.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, how can you not? The guy's, I don't know, respect, right? With the two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you said you're new to the hobby. Talk to me about your collecting journey, like why it started, when it started, where it started, all that stuff.
Yeah, so like when I was like 5 or 6, my dad got me some sports cards. I have like the binders of them still.
Oh, that's
Because baseball, that was my favorite sport, and grew up, kind of grew out of it a little bit. But then a friend he just got into Blaze. He started working at Blaze, and said he had a job for me there if I wanted it, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do at the time, so I went to Las Vegas and started working there, and that like really got me back in the hobby. And before I moved there, I didn't know you could get an autograph on a card. I really came there not knowing anything, but grew into it, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It's honestly, it's crazy because I'm the same. A lot of us are the same, I think, where we collected as kids. Whatever we collected, we collected. It honestly didn't really matter. We were just happy to have the cards. If it was a gift, it was great. If we went to the store and bought it, it was great. It really didn't matter what it was. And then we all kind of came back at similar time, right around, COVID, a little after, a little before. And I think a lot of us were shocked by, I mean, I don't really curse on here, so I'm gonna not again, but like, holy poop, this is what cards look like now. This is what they do. I mean, I remember the first time I kind of got a newer set, a more super modern set, if you will. Like just turning the card and looking at what it would do for whatever
Yeah,
reason. Now it's just like, no way. Like as a kid, if I had that, I would have freaked out.
yeah, like the silver and the mojo and stuff, how it looks and
Yeah,
like
it's
just
wild. The hypers and all that. I'm just like, yeah, as a kid, I would have freaked out. As an adult, I freak out.
or the first time I saw a tie-dye card, like I think my jaw was on the floor. Took me
Yeah.
30 seconds to pick it up.
Yeah, right, right. Well, since we're kind of talking about how we met, let's just kind of go to you started as a sorter and rose up to being a breaker. For the people that join into breaks, that know the hobby, that are on the buyer side, how much more difficult is it than they probably think it is? How different is the seller side than the buyer side? And do they even know? I know Jags had a good perspective on this. I want to hear yours.
On the sorting side, it's just, it's way more time consuming than you would think because there's just so many cards in some of the breaks. Like you get a Bowman full case break and it takes an hour to sort it, and then it takes an hour to bag it. So
Mm,
you're gonna 2 hours right there. But it,
Bowman. Bowman.
yeah, we're getting flashbacks of Bowman. But no, it's a great way, for me at least, it was a great way to learn everything because I came here not knowing that cards were numbered, and like sorting them, looking at all the cards, the different sets. It's like I was exposed to so much, and it was just a great basis to have a learning from. Because when I did make the jump to breaking, it was like a lot easier. Like, oh, this one's red, it's to 49 or whatever it is in a certain set because I'd seen it so many times sorting. It was very difficult at first because there's just so much. You don't make sure everyone's getting the cards that they paid for, so it's nerve wracking. And now that I'm on the buying side of it or the collecting side of it, it's nice to know that I'm getting the cards that I wanted because someone took the time to make sure that it was sorted correctly and shipped to me without getting damaged and all that stuff. So
It
it really makes you appreciate the detail and care that they put into their shipments and stuff like that.
it's definitely a process that I think is underappreciated by most in the hobby. And I use the word underappreciated. I think it's appreciated. They'll say, "Oh, shout out to the sorters," or "Thank God for the sorters and shippers," but like they don't really. The breakers get all the glory, right?
Yeah,
So I think it's underappreciated. I think that they're not exposed enough in a good way, right? But I guess it's just the nature of the beast. But you're right, dude. It's a process that is delicate, and if something goes wrong somewhere along the way, everything can hit the fan, right? Like next thing you know, the guy who bought into a break for $500 for 3 spots doesn't get one of his 3 teams that he bought,
yeah,
and then we don't know where that card is. It's crazy. It's honestly crazy, and I think the buying, the collector side, they don't really truly understand it until they get put into it. Because I know I
yeah.
didn't, right? And so it was crazy to see how it all works out and how delicate of a process it is. But yeah, I sorted a little bit, definitely not as much as you. And I steered clear. I heard Bowman and I was like, this way. What else is here?
That's what I did too. Sometimes, if you're having a long day, been there for 6 hours, you don't want to start a 2-hour sort, so you grab the
No,
easy ones.
boy, Bowman sorting for you Bowman buyers. We love you, but
Yes.
man, that's all I got.
That's where I got started for on the breaking side of it, helping out in baseball, is opening the packs and so many packs.
Bowman. What a beautiful product. What a beautiful set of collectors. What a tragic, what a scary, what a nightmarish sort.
And shit.
Yes. Well, I mentioned your unique collection on the front. So what is unique about your collection?
So
I love this, by the way.
I'm from Iowa, and there's not a professional sports team in the state. So what a lot of people do, me included, is they care more about the colleges, whether it's Iowa or Iowa State, some even Nebraska, than they do about professional sports teams. So my collection is all players that went to the University of Iowa.
You're not an Iowa State guy.
I appreciate that. Like, I'll cheer for them if they're not playing Iowa, but when it's hate week when we play each other.
Yes. All Iowa guys. I know some of the dudes just from knowing you, right? I showed you that picture of Amir Smith-Marset yesterday.
Yeah.
He was literally awesome. Right there. I could have ran out and been like, my friend Ross thinks you're awesome. And then ran back to the sideline, but I wanted to keep my job. So even though it was the last game of the year, I could have, what are they going to do, fire me?
I thought he was squad, so evidently he got called up.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the 3 returners pregame that came out. So I don't know if he's backup returner or third string, but whatever. It was cool to see him, and I was immediately I got to take a picture for Ross. Maybe we'll frame it. Maybe we'll have him sign it.
Yeah, he was really good at Iowa. In this last game, he scored a return touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and a rushing touchdown.
Wow, that's impressive.
Against USC in a bowl game. So yeah.
Against USC?
Yeah.
That's impressive. So yeah, let's talk about some of the guys that you have, and then you can even show off some of the cards that you have with you if you want.
Yeah. So my the main 3 I collect are Amir Smith-Marset. See if I have them set out. Joe Wieskamp and Luca Garza, because Amir Smith-Marset, we started going to Iowa. I went to Iowa for a year. We went at the same time. That's the National Treasures 101.
I was gonna say, is that National Treasures 101?
Yeah.
Wow.
Collegiate.
Okay.
And Joe Wieskamp actually graduated high school. He went to Muscatine in Iowa, and we played at state the same time they did. So I got to watch him play in person.
What did he do against you guys? Do you remember?
He didn't play against us. He was in 4A. We were in 3A, different size schools. But he scored 35 points while being triple teamed the entire game. He would dribble to the lane. There would be 5 guys collapsing on him, and he would either shoot it, and if not, kick it out to the corner. And the person in the corner wide open just wouldn't shoot the ball. They'd wait until he got out to the top of the key, pass it to him, and he'd do it again for the entire game.
Look, man,
30 for the entire year.
When you have an NBA guy on your high school team, I think it just makes sense. The red shimmer you just showed us of Wieskamp.
Yeah.
That's numbered to what?
5.
And how many of those do you have?
I have 2 of the regular ones and 1 of the variations. This one is graded a 9.
So you're 3 short of owning all 5 of those.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I have a lot of incomplete collections like that. I have most of the cards of some of the guys, but you just missed out on one of them, and that person's probably not going to sell it again because they're not super hot commodities. So there's probably a few people doing what I'm doing. I was going to say, it's probably someone doing very similar to what you do, and you're just going after certain guys, whether it's Iowa or whatever it is. You and I came across that guy who had a ton of CJ Beathard, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's like basically on eBay, if you look up CJ Beathard, every single card is his pretty much.
He's an Iowa guy, right?
Yeah, CJ Beathard went to Iowa.
Yeah.
He was drafted in like 2015 or something.
Have
So
you heard of, or do you know anyone else who does collecting like this? It makes sense the way you explained it. Iowa doesn't have a pro team; they're just worried about the college guys. That makes sense. But I mean, do you know of anyone else?
Jeff Silversmith, he lives a few hours from me, and he collects some of the Iowa guys, but I don't know if he goes. I think he's more of the higher end type.
Sure.
So I think he has more like Kittle and Hawkinson and Fant, which are more of the higher end Iowa guys.
Right. Right. Who's the third player you mentioned?
Luka Garza.
Oh yes. Let's see some Garza. Let's. This is the right Luca. This is
Yeah.
the Luca. No, dude, that's cool.
NT out of 99.
So you mentioned that you're going after the college guys, Iowa. You have the Smith Marset Collegiate. Do you go after college jersey cards? Does it not matter to you? Would
I
you rather have
prefer
the
the college.
pro? You would
I'd rather
prefer the
have the
college.
college. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
So
because if it's game used, it means that 99% of the time I've watched that game
that's cool.
because
Yeah.
I watch as many Iowa games as I possibly can of any sport. So like if there's an Amir Smith Marset jersey piece, I probably watched the game he played in.
Yeah,
If,
that's
when
pretty cool. That's
so
pretty cool.
it means more to me that way. But if there's a cool Spurs Joey's camp or whatever, I'll buy it. Like I don't, if it's the right price, I'm not trying to spend a ton of money, but
Right. There's a guy that works at Game Day out here. He thinks that college uni stuff is going to be kind of the next big thing because now all these kids can sign and all that stuff.
mm-hmm.
And for people like you who just they don't have a pro team really, they just support athletes. It's the first level that they can support them at. So like a Bowman first of a college kid, he thinks is going to be popping off in a couple years. I don't think I disagree with him. I think there's plenty of college collectors, more than we know, I would say.
Yeah. And it also helps because the college stuff is normally a little bit cheaper. It widens the people that are able to access some of the cards.
Yeah.
Like there's a Keegan Murray just got drafted by the Kings this year. He's tearing it up, and his college stuff is even a couple $100 for an autographed card. So when the pro stuff comes out, it's just gonna be through the roof. And for a guy like me, I can't afford the pro stuff.
Right.
So like what I can do to collect it.
Well, NBA Hoops is dropping. I think by time this airs, Hoops will be out. 2022-23 Hoops. So it'll be the
Right?
first look at the new kids. So I bet Ross is going to be buying into some Sacramento Kings breaks. I bet
Yep.
every now
You
and then.
seen what I find muster out?
Yes, you hit a Keegan Murray. Didn't we hit it, or did you buy it off of the guy who hit the Keegan Murray auto out of one of the Leaf boxes?
I bought one Keegan Murray out of Leaf, and then I had two people give me one.
I love it. I
So I
love
have
it.
three of them.
See, I love the gifting. The gifting is amazing. That's how I have a
Yeah,
few Romeo dubs. That's who, dude. You know who the friend was that collects like you do?
yeah.
It's freaking me.
It's you.
I collect my Nevada guys, right? So
Yeah.
I have the Martin twins. If I was there while they were there, I collect them. So I have
Mhm.
Caleb and Cody Martin cards. I have Romeo Dubs, Carson Strong. I have some Toa Tawa, and I got one TJ Friedel auto. He plays for the Cincinnati Reds, and he was there at Nevada when I
Right.
was there. So it was me. I'm the freaking friend.
You're the friend.
Yeah, I was like trying to think, and then I was like, oh wait, it was the whole time. It was me. It's my Nevada collection. So we're similar in that way for sure. And then of course, I have my obsession with that guy. What do you got for the people? You want to do some plugs, some shameless plugs? Where can they find you? When are you going to start your own podcast? All the stuff.
Just like you said earlier, just RDG. It's either RDG underscore 99 or dash 99, just depending on the platform. I don't really do a lot on Instagram or Twitter, but I'm gonna start posting some of my cards because I think it's just cool to show the people what you have. There's no reason to just start a collection and keep it in your closet,
Truth.
which is what I'm doing right now. Can I show one more card?
Of course. Yeah, no, please.
A few more actually,
Like I
because
said, whatever you got, whatever else you want to do, I'm down. I love looking at
okay.
cards.
So Derek at Blaze He found these on one of the
Oh
Facebook
yeah, dude,
groups.
those are so cool. Those
It's
are so
Akram
cool.
Wadley. He went to Iowa a few years ago, and it's normally they don't have the Herky logo on the cards. It's normally just the stripes from the shoulder pads. So
What's his
these are
name again?
Akram Wadley.
Akram Wadley. See, I
I
mean,
don't
this
think he
guy's
ever was even
cards.
drafted.
Yeah,
So
these guys' cards would never ever be collected by anyone. That's why I wanted to have you on
no,
because it's just so unique.
this is a Marvin McNutt. This was like when I was in elementary school. Was when he was playing. So like one of the like some of the first memories I have of watching football was of him scoring touchdowns
That's
and
cool.
him upsetting Michigan State when they were ranked like in the top 10 when I was a kid.
Let's go, Hawkeyes.
And then Keegan Murray, I was
Yeah.
really lucky and hit this out of a break from Blaise. I would just, figured might as well take a punt and got
Dude, I
put.
remember that. Wasn't that like one of the only Sacramento breaks that you bought into?
It was the only one. They were
Wow.
they hadn't hit anything of his all day, and I got that when I did buy into, so I got really lucky there.
Yeah.
And then the CJ Beathard guys is probably one of the coolest cards I've ever seen, at least
This
personally
card is
for me.
amazing.
It's a chin strap autograph right there. And then it's part of the Rose Bowl patch from when they made it in 2015, I believe.
And then the other patch literally says Iowa, right?
Yeah, and then it's the Iowa patch above the chin strap.
Man, that is a really cool card.
That was the one card I've seen, and I said I have to have it no matter how much it costs.
I was gonna say, would you say that is in your current collection, that's your holy grail? That's your top PC card right now?
Yeah, because Iowa doesn't do stuff like that very often, make the Rose Bowl. So like when they do, like it's just like everyone remembers it and talks about it.
That's a really show it one more time. Show it
One more time.
Yeah. Dude, come on. And what is that? What is it?
It is National Treasures.
Yeah. Wow. That's so crazy. What a freaking card, dude.
Yeah, I have a few of other players with the Bull logos, and those are probably some of my favorite ones. Yeah.
Listen, Nevada, we had the Boise, Idaho Potato Bowl. Okay,
Nice.
there's a couple Carson Strongs out there with the Idaho Potato Bowl patch. Maybe I'll have to go get them. The guy's charging a lot. I'm like, come on, man, help me out. Help a Nevada collector out.
But
they feed on us, Ross.
They do. I've probably driven up the CJ Beathard market by like 100% from the few cards I buy.
That's too funny. Very cool. So you're not starting your own podcast soon?
No, I don't have a lot to talk about. I'm kind of boring.
All right. Well, thanks again, Ross. Find him on RDG_99 or -99 on Instagram, Twitter. Where can we get crushed by you in FIFA? Is that your gamer tag?
Yeah, that's what it is.
RDG is the underscore?
Yes.
Okay, RDG_99. Are you on Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation.
Why aren't we gaming together? What the hell?
I don't know.
Cool.
Gotta link.
Well, thanks a lot, Ross.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
Again, I want to thank Ross for taking the time. Like I said, one of the most genuine people. You could probably pick that up from the interview. Just a totally awesome person. Him and I, we got to go to a soccer match out here at Allegiant Stadium. We had a great time. He's just a solid dude. There's really nothing else to say about him. And how about his collection? How about the Rose Bowl patch card? That was insane. And collecting Iowa guys. Anyone out there do something like that and have a unique collection? Like I mentioned my Nevada collection. I collect the Martin twins. Who collects the Martin twins? Me. Carson Strong I've been collecting. No one really collects Carson Strong. So does anyone else have these type of ties to guys or universities, alma maters, that they just go out and they don't really care about collecting a whole set or anything, just more so their guys? I thought it was a cool perspective that Ross shared with us. So let me know if you have something similar. So again, thank you, Ross. And now we're going to slide right over into the UFC Optic box break. The box wasn't fantastic. but it also wasn't terrible. Had an interesting auto and a really nice color, actually. So here we go right into the box. UFC Optic debut. We're going in. We're going to try to open. Not try to. We're going to open. Try to hit big. 2022 Donruss Optic UFC debut. Hi, lovely. Debut product. We have a blaster as well, basketball blaster, that Lovely is supposed to rip as well. I don't think she'll do it on the live tonight, but you know, hashtag content. Hashtag content. Here we go. Sorry if I'm, wow, starting out with the red. Starting out with the red. Just as we said, we don't get enough color in here. Red Alexa Grasso to $199. I'm showing it to two different cameras, I forgot. To $199. Stargazing. Oh no, Dominators, John Jones. This is tough with this second camera. Make it make sense, Al. Make it make sense. There we go. Like that one's just a sleeve. Okay. What are you hoping for here? Any color, right? Any normal color from Optic, but you're hoping for just big name guys. Peter Yan.
Okay.
Stargazing Silver. Hollow. Sorry. It's Optic. Any big name guys. Patty the Baddie. I like Leech a lot, Lee Janglang. I love his auto. He literally signs in Japanese. I would love to get an auto.
That's amazing, yeah.
Patty, rated rookie Patty Pimblett.
John Jones, you just want sleeve. Just,
yeah.
No, top load.
Yeah, I can just sleeve too once we're done.
Oh,
Glover Teixeira Hollow. That's a legend.
Mm-hmm.
That's a legend. Patty the Baddie. His last fight wasn't super impressive, but
very controversial, that last fight. A lot of people think he lost.
Is that just a standard my house? But it is Izzy, the last style bender. Israel Adesanya, my house. His last fight was a Saudi.
So
it's just sleeve. Another my house. The my house has come out a lot in UFC Optic, which I'm not mad at. Habib Nurmagomedov. Yes, sir. Be nice to us. Give us something good. Give us a cool auto. Give us Jeremy's PC. The great Alexander Volkanovski. Best pound for pound. A lot of people say.
I'd say so. I'd say.
Hollow in the back. Rated rookie. And then it's Cory Sandhagen Hollow. The nickname cards are sick. I wish that they would be hollow every now and then.
I'm very interested to see how his fight with Islam Makhachev is going to go, though. I'm a huge Volkanovski fan, and I am terrified.
A lot of people love Volk. A lot of people. I'm saving the orange. I'm going to sweat the orange there. Another My House. Told you it comes out a lot. Cerrone, Thug Rose, Ortega. Thug Rose, My House.
Easy.
YouTube, I'm sorry I'm kind of butchering your side of the break. It's all a learning process. Stargazing. It's the champ, Charles Oliveira. Is he still the champ?
He is not.
He lost, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Gosh, that's weird.
He lost to Islam Makhachev.
Gosh, that's weird. He did lose to Islam. Wow.
I don't see anybody beating him, to be honest with you.
You want to tell me, you want to pronounce his name for me?
What's that?
I can never say his first name correct. Or his last
Shavkat
name.
Rakhmonov?
Say it again louder. Say it with your chest.
Is it?
I don't think it's Shavkat.
Yeah.
I think the S is silent.
Havkat Rakhmonov?
I don't know, man. Steven Thompson, Wonder Boy. He sucks.
Yeah.
He sucks.
I loved his last fight, dude, against Kevin. What's his name?
Dominators of Oliveira. Optographs, it's Matt Hughes.
Hey.
Matt Hughes auto. Okay. Legend auto.
That's the reason I started training.
I'll never forget the fight where he jumped on dude's back and took him and won that way. He literally squeezed him on his back. That was insane. That was insane. That's not the auto we want though, Chancellor. It's not the auto I want. Another Volk, Stargazing. So the orange, hopefully the orange is nice.
So what would you be your golden auto that you'd like to see here?
In this. The guy's IPC, Umar. If he, I don't know if he signs in this. Blue, we have a blue as well. Umar Nurmagomedov. It is a rated, ooh, nice. Max Griffin, rated rookie blue. 24 of 99 on the Max Griffin. I dig it. I dig it. If you dig it, I dig it. Josh, do you sub through someone? Or do you just do it yourself? Dominators. Rachmanov again. I don't see, I know if I don't know how to say it, I intentionally butcher it. The Lioness, Amanda Nunez. Talk about weird when she wasn't the champ for a moment, too.
Yeah.
That was really weird. She took it back, though.
Curious to see how that trilogy is going to play out, too.
She took it back with a vengeance. I told everyone, I said, there's no way. That was such a fluke loss.
No, 100%.
In my opinion. Your PC is hiding. I subbed through my buddy that has a subscription. Nice, okay. But you like prepping stuff yourself, or do you send to someone? Does he prep? Your PC is hiding. Where is she at? Where's the Voices of the Octagon? For Jeremy's PC. Is AK-47 fan a scammer? We don't know. Chris Dawkins, everyone's favorite fighter. Ooh, Stipe Miocic holo.
Okay.
2 packs left. Straight up scammer. I knew it. Just like Karolinko was. Just kidding. I love Karolinko. John Anik. Voices of the Octagon.
Wow.
That's a cool card, huh?
That's kind of cool, yeah.
Cool looking card.
Yeah.
I really like the design of the Voices of the Octagon. YouTube. For those of you watching on YouTube. That's a cool looking card. It's got something on it. It's my break, so I can scratch the card. Vicente Luke. Last pack, and then we have the orange. Last pack, and then we have the orange, and I can stop recording on the YouTube. Ooh, Hamzat.
Chimaev. That is my PC right there.
Is it?
I love Hamzat.
I don't know why, Timmy. I really don't know why, but this card, it feels 7.5 pounds heavier than I expected it to. It's like, it's heavier than the rest of them in here. I can't really lift it.
He's dense. He's quite dense.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm here all night. What is the orange? Who's the orange? Be massive. Be someone we want. It's not a rookie. Be a legend then. Wow, what a terrible sweat. What a terrible sweat. Jessica Andrade orange.
Gosh, yeah.
I should have sweat the blue to 49. I should have sweat the blue. Max Griffin. Dang, I mean, we didn't get any massive hits. The auto's pretty cool. Matt Hughes, right? He's an icon, a legend. And the blue Max Griffin, you don't hate it. You don't hate it. It's a solid rated rookie to have to 99. The card itself looks pretty clean. If you couldn't tell, I was doing it both on Whatnot and for the YouTube channel, so it got a little sloppy at parts. I'm sorry about that, but overall, okay box. That was the second one I've opened for myself. First one was a bit better. I had a Rose to 5 Stargazing insert, which was cool, and Nate Diaz Holo Auto, also pretty cool. But, you know, I love UFC cards. I love UFC Optic. I love UFC Select. I actually have a box of Select Hobby on its way to me now, and Prism Hobby. Hopefully we can run a break with that. Kind of a little mixture, one Select, one Prism. But anyways, I just love UFC cards. I love collecting them. I have quite a stack here of UFC cards, but I have a ton in my closet over here. A full one row, I'd say, solid, of some soft sleeved and some top load UFC cards. I've been collecting them for a while. Again, thanks for watching. This was episode 7 of Throne Breaks. I'm your host, Big Al. Thanks to Ross again one more time. And as always, don't forget how awesome you are.
What up, fans, and welcome back to another episode of Who Wore It Best? Jersey Royale. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Kaleigh Krish, bringing you the show that determines who is the best athlete in the world to wear a particular number. Now, how does this all work? Well, each week I pick a number between 0 and 99. Now, it can either be at random, maybe out of a hat. I'll even ask Alexa for advice. But either way, I break down the careers of the top athletes to wear that particular number, and at the end of our walk down memory lane, I decide who is the greatest athlete to wear that number. And from then on, there can be no debate. That is that. All right, now, which number are we tackling tonight? I am so glad you asked. This number has been worn by greats from basketball, baseball, football, and hockey. But tonight, we are talking about the number 8. Now, in numerology, 8 means victory and overcoming, which is exactly what each of these players had to do in order to make this list. So, let's kick it off with our first player tonight, coming to you from the diamond, number 8, Yogi Berra. Now, would it really be a show if we weren't talking about a Yankee great? I don't think so. Yogi is widely regarded as one of the greatest catchers in baseball history. He played 19 seasons in the major leagues, all but the last for the Yankees. He was an 18-time All-Star, won 10 World Series championships as a player. Yes, that is more than anyone else in MLB history. Berra had a career batting average of .285 while hitting 358 home runs and 1,430 RBIs. He is also one of only 6 players to win the AL MVP award 3 different times. Now, Berra was excellent at hitting pitches outside of the strike zone and really all over the strike zone with his great extension. Now, he could go after those low pitches with a golf-like swing or chop at the high ones for line drives. Now, 5 different times, Berra had more home runs than strikeouts in a season. In 1950, he had only 12 strikeouts in 597 at-bats. Now, White Sox manager Paul Richards said Berra and Mickey Mantle were the 2 best clutch hitters in the game. As a catcher, Yogi was quick, mobile, and a great handler of his pitchers. He led the All-American League catchers 8 times in games caught and in chances accepted, a Major League record 6 times in double plays, 8 times in putouts, 3 times in assists, and once in fielding percentage. He was also only one of 4 catchers to ever field 1,000 in a season, playing 88 errorless games in 1958. Now, at the age of 37, Berra caught an entire 22-inning game. That is over 7 hours behind the dish. I'm not quite 37 yet, but I can guarantee you that I could not even sit in the stands to watch a 7-hour game, let alone play in one. He also caught Don Larson's perfect game in Game 5 of the 1956 World Series and holds the all-time record for shutouts caught with 173. Yogi Berra was also known for his yogiisms when answering reporters, saying things like, "It ain't over till it's over. You can observe a lot by watching, and a nickel ain't worth a dime anymore." You know, the things that would have a reporter like me chomping at the bit because it is pure entertainment. In 1972, the Yankees retired his number 8, and the same year he was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. And there you have it, the first on our list of the greatest to wear the number 8, Yogi Berra. Up next, we have an athlete who is still dominating on the ice and is actually my birthday twin, number 8, Alex Ovechkin. Now, the Great 8 is widely regarded as one of the greatest goal scorers of all time. He is second for all-time goal scoring, only behind the Great One, Wayne Gretzky. Ovechkin also holds the records for most power play goals, most goals in away games, and most goals with the same team in NHL history. Ovechkin was selected first in the 2004 NHL draft, and in the 2005-2006 season, he would score 52 goals and 54 assists to lead all rookies in points, capturing the Calder Memorial Trophy as a Rookie of the Year. And get this, he wasn't just great for a rookie, he finished 3rd overall in league scoring. Avi has won the Morris Rocket Richard Trophy, which is given to NHL's leading goal scorer a record 9 times. He has also scored 50 goals in a season 9 different times, which ties Mike Bossy and Gretzky for the most 50-goal seasons in NHL history. He has won the Hart Memorial Trophy for Most Valuable Player 3 times, going back-to-back in 2008 and 2009. And look, even fellow teammates and opponents like the guy. He's been voted Best Player by the NHL Players Association 3 times. In 2018, Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals won the Stanley Cup, and he was given the Conn Smythe Trophy for Most Valuable Player in the 2018 playoffs. He's been named NHL First All-Star Team 8 times, and in 2017, he was named one of the 100 greatest NHL players of all time. He's even represented his homeland of Russia at 13 World Championships and 3 Olympics. Now, Ovechkin is such a prolific goal scorer. He has the best chance of overtaking Gretzky's record of total career goals. As of today, he's at 809 to Gretzky's 894. In the 2001-2002 season, Ovechkin had another 50-goal season, which was the most goals scored by a player 36 years or older. Now, if he can keep doing that, he will catch up to Gretzky in about 2 seasons. Avi is famous for his deadly one-timer that he shoots from the left face-off circle, also known as his office. Many players have said, you know it's there, you know it's coming, and you still cannot stop him. He is also one of the most durable players currently on the ice, losing little time to injuries, and after all, according to Avi, Russian machine never breaks. And there you go. The Great 8, Alex Ovechkin, making our greatest to wear 8 list. Now, we move on from the ice to the field, the football field that is, with number 8, Steve Young. Steve Young played 15 seasons for the San Francisco 49ers, where he was named the NFL's most valuable player in 92 and 94. He's won 3 Super Bowls and was the Super Bowl 29 MVP after defeating the San Diego Chargers, throwing a record 6 touchdowns. During that 1994 MVP campaign, Young set a new NFL passer rating of 112.8. And fun fact, that record has since been surpassed with 122.5 passer rating in 2011 by Aaron Rodgers. No biggie. But to be fair, at the time of his retirement, Young had the highest passer rating among NFL quarterbacks with at least 1,500 passing attempts. He's also led the league in passer rating 6 different times during his career, and a completion percentage and yards per attempt 5 different times. Young also has 43 rushing touchdowns, which is second in NFL history, and ranks 5th all-time with 4,239 rushing yards as a QB. When Young signed to the 49ers in 1987, he was the backup to franchise hero Joe Montana. But Young would shine as a backup. In his first game, Young threw 4 touchdown passes in a 41-0 victory against the Chicago Bears. In their '87 divisional playoff game against the Vikings, Young came in during the second half after the team had fallen behind 27-10. Now, despite losing that game, his performance was memorable as he completed 12 of 17 passes for 158 yards and a touchdown, 1 interception, while also leading San Francisco in rushing with 72 yards and a TD on 6 carries. The next year, Young was the winning ticket against the Vikings. After Montana went down with an injury, Young started with a 73-yard touchdown pass to John Taylor and then finished with a 49-yard game-winning rushing touchdown. In 1992, Young would get his first MVP award, finishing the season with 3,465 passing yards and 537 rushing yards, along with an NFL best 25 touchdown passes and a 107 passer rating, also earning his first Pro Bowl selection. Steve Young would finish his career in 1999 with 33,124 passing yards and 232 touchdowns with 107 interceptions and 43 rushing touchdowns. In 20 postseason games, he threw 20 touchdown passes with only 13 interceptions and add 8 rushing TDs to that as well. In 2005, Steve Young was elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and fun fact, he was the first lefty to be honored. And in 2008, the Niners retired Young's number 8 jersey, just the 11th player in team history to receive that honor. And there we go. We are moving right along. And on to the next greatest player of our list, taking this one back to the diamond, number 8, Cal Ripken Jr. Better known as the Iron Man for his consistency in the game, Cal holds the MLB record for most consecutive games played with 2,632, a record he took from Lou Gehrig in 1995. Cal also holds the MLB record for most consecutive innings played with 8,243. Ripken played 21 seasons for the Baltimore Orioles as a shortstop and third base, and is known as one of the greatest shortstops of all time, winning 2 Golden Gloves at that position. He's paved the way for taller, larger guys to play short, and was selected as the starting shortstop for the Major League Baseball All-Century team. Cal is also a prolific offensive player as well, compiling 3,184 hits, 431 home runs, and 1,695 RBIs. In his rookie year, Ripken hit 28 homers on his way to win the AL Rookie of the Year award. In 1983, he would earn his first of 19 All-Star berths and finish up the season with an Orioles record for RBIs by the shortstop with 102 and hits by all players with 211. He led the major leagues in hits and doubles while also leading the AL with 121 runs scored. As a shortstop, he led the league in fielding percentage, assists, and double plays. That year, the Orioles would defeat the Philadelphia Phillies 4-1 to win the '83 World Series. After the season, Ripken was named AL MVP with a .318 batting average and 27 home runs. Ripken became the first player in MLB history to win Rookie of the Year and MVP awards in consecutive seasons. Now, as if that wasn't good enough, 1991 was a career-making year for Ripken. Through the All-Star break, he had a .348 batting average, making him the first shortstop to lead the league in average through that point since Lou Boudreau in 1947. Cal finished the season hitting .323 with a career-high 34 home runs and 114 RBIs. In addition, he had 46 doubles, stole a career-high 6 bases, hey, that's good for a slow kid, and hit 5 triples while posting his career lowest strikeout rate and fewest strikeouts in a season with 600 or more plate appearances. That year, Ripken won his second AL MVP title, first Golden Glove award, the All-Star Game MVP Award, the Home Run Derby, the Silver Slugger Award, Associated Press Player of the Year Award, and Sporting News Player of the Year awards. Some of you might even remember the night that Cal Ripken Jr. surpassed Lou Gehrig's 56-year-old record for consecutive games played. The Orioles faced the California Angels in what still ranks as one of the most watched baseball games of all time. Now, in a baseball game, it's considered an official game after at least 5 innings have been played. So, at the bottom of the 5th inning, the numerical banners that displayed Ripken's streak on the wall outside of the stadium's right field wall changed from 2,130 to 2,131. Ripken received a standing ovation from the crowd, the opposing players, and the umpires that lasted more than 22 minutes, one of the longest standing O's for any athlete. During the ovation, Cal ran a lap around the Camden Yards warning track to shake hands with fans, a truly special moment in sports history. In 2001, Cal Ripken Jr. announced he would be retiring at the end of the season. He was voted as the starting third baseman at the All-Star Game, where, to pay tribute to a legend, shortstop Alex Rodriguez insisted on switching positions with Ripken so he could play his last All-Star Game at short. That move allowed Ripken to claim the record for most MLB All-Star Game appearances at shortstop. At his first at-bat, Ripken homered off the first pitch. He earned his second All-Star MVP award that game, becoming one of only 4 players in MLB history with multiple All-Star Game MVPs, and the only player to have done it in 2 different decades. Ripken's number 8 was retired by the Baltimore Orioles in 2001, and on January 9, 2007, as a first ballot entry, he was elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame, appearing on 98.5% of ballots cast, just 8 shy of a unanimous vote. An amazing career for the Iron Man. All right, fans, we are coming up on our last contender for the best to wear number 8. And even if you have never seen a sporting event in your life, you know this name. That's right, it's number 8, Kobe Bryant. Now, I know, some of you are thinking to yourselves, but wait, Kobe wore number 24. Correct, he did. And I'm here to give you his stats for his entire career because that's what we do here on Who Wore It Best. But let me give you some facts right up front. The guy had similar careers wearing each number. In the 10 years he wore number 8, Kobe scored 16,777 points, winning 3 championship titles and earning 8 All-Star appearances. Now in his 10 years wearing the number 24, Kobe had 16,866 points, had 2 titles, and made 10 All-Star appearances. So let's talk about Kobe in the entirety of his career. The Black Mamba is known as one of the greatest basketball players and scorers of all time. He won 5 NBA championships, was an 18-time All-Star, 15-time member of the All-NBA team, 12-time member of the All-Defensive team, the 2008 NBA MVP, and 2-time NBA Finals MVP. Throughout his career, he led the league in scoring twice and ranks 4th in the league in all-time regular season and postseason scoring. Kobe is one of 41 players to get drafted out of high school and was the first guard. He signed a $3.5 million contract at the age of 17. Must be nice. During his rookie season, Bryant won the 1997 Slam Dunk Contest, becoming the youngest dunk champion and earning himself in a spot at the NBA All-Rookie second team. Kobe was quickly a fan favorite, and in his second year, he was voted by the fans into the NBA All-Star Game, making him the youngest starter in NBA history. In the 98-99 season, Bryant marked his emergence as a premier guard in the league. Commentators even started comparing him to Michael Jordan, which makes sense, seeing as how Bryant had modeled his playing style after MJ. Once Phil Jackson arrived in '99, the Lakers would hit their stride. Although Bryant played in Shaquille O'Neal's shadow at times, he averaged over 38 minutes per game. He led the team in assists per game and steals per game, which would lead to his first all-defensive team honor. In the first of the three-peat starting in '99, Kobe had some clutch performances in the NBA playoffs, including a 25-point, 11-rebound, 7-assist, 4-block game in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. In Game 4 of the NBA Finals, Bryant scored with a winning shot, leading the team to its eventual championship, its first since 1988. The next season, Kobe would have another clutch performance during the playoffs. This time, in Game 4 of the semifinals, Bryant recorded 48 points, 16 rebounds, and 3 assists in a 119-113 series-clinching win. The Lakers would win number 2 consecutively, and in the final year of their three-peat, the Black Mamba found his place. In that season, he played 80 games for the first time in his career. He recorded a then career-high 56 points in a game against the Grizzlies and maintained a season average of 25.2 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, and 5.5 assists. He also had a career-high 46.9% shooting average and once again led his team in assists. He made the All-NBA defensive team for a second time and was named to his first NBA first team. By his notable fourth quarter performances in the finals, Bryant cemented his reputation as a clutch player. In 2007, Kobe was a member of the USA Men's Senior National Team and USA America's Championship Team that finished 10-0, won gold, and qualified for the 2008 Olympics. He started in all 10 of those games, and in 2008, the Olympic gold medal game, Bryant scored 20 points, including 13 in the fourth quarter, along with 6 assists to defeat Spain and gain the USA's first gold medal in worldwide basketball competition since 2000. He won another gold in 2012 and finished his national team career with a record of 26-0. Kobe would go on to win 2 more titles, be honored with NBA Finals MVP in 2009 and 2010. He was the NBA MVP in 2008, was an NBA scoring champion in 2006 and 2007, and was named to the NBA's 75th anniversary team. And in his final game of his career, showing off the true work ethic that he had, Kobe scored an NBA season-high 60 points against Utah, outscoring the entire Jazz team 23-21 in the fourth quarter. He became the oldest player to score 60 or more points in a game. A year after his final game, the Lakers retired both of the numbers he wore in his career. So yes, both 8 and 24 sit in the rafters. And following his death, Kobe Bryant was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. I definitely couldn't hit all of the details of his career, but it's one that has inspired not just basketball players, but athletes and hard workers alike to recreate that Mamba mentality and get the job done. There you have it, folks. Our 5 contenders for Who Wore It Best, number 8. Let's recap, shall we? We've got Yogi Berra, a Yankee great with 10 World Series championships. Alex Ovechkin, who is second behind Gretzky for all-time goal scoring. Steve Young, second in all-time passer rating. Cal Ripken Jr., the MLB's most consecutive game records holder. And finally, Kobe Bryant, 5-time NBA world champion. Before we get to the winner of the greatest player to wear the number 8, is there a number you want to see I haven't done yet? Well, first, before you yell at me, go ahead and check the Who Wore It Best playlist on the Titan Media Collective's YouTube page before you go getting all crazy on me, right? And if you still don't see the number that you want to watch after that, then leave a note in the comments and I'll get to it. Like seriously, because I need help picking numbers. Hey, make sure you like and subscribe to the content and hit that notifications button so you never miss a battle. All right, let's get back to the Jersey Royale at hand. Who is the best to wear the number 8? I'm giving it to Black Mamba. Kobe's number 8 was the development that is where the demand for greatness in himself started, where the desire to win took hold, the love for the game blossomed, the passion for the craft served more than fan approval. 8 made Kobe great, and we would never have Kobe's 24 without 8. Just like the greatest players in NBA history, Kobe continues to inspire generations of athletes, and his illustrious career shows us why. Now, if you're mad and you think he should have won at 24, well, defend your verdict in the comments and I will tell you why you're wrong. And hey, who knows? Maybe he wins at 24 as well. You're just gonna have to keep watching and find out. I'm Kaleigh Krish, this is Who Wore It Best, and I'll see y'all next time.
All right, my friends, welcome back to another episode of Boozin' on a Budget right here on TitanTV. It's the wine episode. I gotta be honest, I've been putting the wine episode off. Not because I don't have a love for wine, or I don't want to talk about wine, or I don't want to drink wine. There is just so much involved in wine. And that's one of the things that drew me in to really start getting involved with wine, is the vast amount of information that you can learn and study when you're figuring out wine. You're gonna learn geography, culture, viticulture, climatology, geography. Did I say that already? Once I started digging in to like what is all about wine, I started learning all kinds of stuff. So I want to talk about that. Where did it start out? Well, I was always a beer guy. Always a whiskey guy. And then I dated this girl and she was a wine person. And so I started drinking wine with her. What I soon realized is I know nothing about wine. I used to have a glass of wine maybe with dinner, with family, at a holiday, something like that. I thought red wine was okay. I loved it with food. Didn't think much about it. But when I started thinking like, okay, this wine stuff's pretty cool. I know nothing about it and I want to know more so that I can feel informed when I go out to buy it. So what did I know? I knew a little bit about Cabernet, Chardonnay, Merlot, just a very base level, you know, some bubbly wine, cool. But I found myself when I went to go shopping for wine, I had no idea and I felt uncomfortable. So I wanted to start researching and looking into this wine stuff. And I have no idea what happened. It hit me like a tsunami. I just could not read enough, learn enough, talk about, drink enough wine, go to the wine bar, talk to people. It was helping me meet all these kinds of people that were all obsessed with wine. There was this whole wine world that I had no idea existed, and I was just super stoked to start digging into it. It kind of all started again too. The girl that I was dating, she was drinking a Barbera from the Sierra foothills in California. And I'm like, what is Barbera? It actually had a bear on it, which was a play on words. Barbera is actually an Italian grape, fruity and tart. Highly suggest Barbera if you haven't had that. But that started getting me thinking, I want to know more about wine. So I started digging in and researching. One of the first things I did was just go down to Total Wine & More and talk to the people down there. They had these little pieces of literature all around the store that I picked up for free. I was talking to the wine people. They were making awesome recommendations for me. And I started exploring all different types of wine. One of the first things that I want you to think about when we're talking about wine is old world versus new world. Old world, just very simply, is anything that's not from America. So your old world is your France, obviously, Spain, Italy, Austria, where else? Australia makes Shiraz, which is Syrah. These old world wines, this is where wine started, right? In France, Bordeaux, Burgundy, Champagne. These are the traditional wine names. Now, what I want you to understand about old world wine is that old world wine is classified by the area that the grapes are grown. So you know that Bordeaux has Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, Petit Verdot, Malbec. The way the old world wines are classified is that it doesn't say Cabernet Sauvignon on the label. It says Bordeaux. So you just have to know what grapes are grown in Bordeaux. The way that France does it is literally, it's by law what grapes you can grow in what areas. So Old World will tell you the region that the grapes come from, and you just have to know what grapes are grown in that region. Champagne is actually the name of the region, Champagne, France. Well, we know that Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, some of these other grapes that are used to make champagne, they're not going to be on the bottle. It's just going to say Champagne. So you have to know with the Old World style of wines, they're going to classify it differently. Whereas your New World, your American, basically, all your American stuff, it's going to say the grape right on the bottle, Cabernet Sauvignon. This is another Cabernet Sauvignon. If it's Merlot, it's going to say Merlot. If it's Pinot Noir, it's going to say Pinot Noir. American wine lists the grape variety on the bottle. That's how we classify it. So Old World versus New World. Your Old World wine is going to have more other notes than fruity, earthy, gamey, some of the mineralities, some of the different things. They're a little more challenging wines to get into. They're going to have a lot more unique flavor. Not that the American New World wines can't have unique flavor, but for the most part, American wines are pretty fruit forward. We just like it fruit forward over here. That's kind of the basis of what we do on this side of the world, is a little bit more fruit forward. That is in no way to say New World American wines aren't unique. In fact, the further you climb up the price point, the more unique, the more different flavor notes that you're going to pull out of those. That brings me to my next point. If you're into wine at all, if you're looking to get into wine, you need to familiarize yourself with the term terroir. Terroir is a fancy French word for the region. What does the land give to the wine? So if this wine came from Burgundy or Bordeaux, those wines should show the characteristics of the land, of the region in which they were grown. In fact, they should have so much of that characteristic that you should be able to pick out these sommeliers, these wine experts. They actually just smell the wine, and because of the unique terroir, they're able to identify those wines in a blind taste test. It's really incredible what sommeliers can do, especially those master sommeliers. The way that they can just look at a wine, look at the color, smell it, taste it, and they're able to say, this is a Bordeaux wine, left bank from 2013. It's incredible what these guys can do. There's some movies out that follow the journey of these people applying to be master sommeliers. Check that out. Incredibly entertaining. The stuff that they put these people through to be able to call themselves master sommeliers, absolutely incredible. Like, I think there's a guy who's a doctor who said, literally passing my master sommelier test overall was on par with the time and the effort that it took for me to become a doctor or a lawyer. They take it very, very seriously. It's very secretive. But they're looking for those terroir flavor notes. Now, that terroir aspect also lives in New World. You should be able to maybe tell once you get into it, what's the terroir of Napa Valley versus Paso Robles or something a little farther south in California. What is the difference between a Cabernet grapes that are grown in Napa Valley as opposed to Cabernet grapes that are grown in Washington State or Oregon, or the Pinot Noir that comes from Carneros in the south part of Napa Valley? Does it have some of that southern Napa Valley terroir, that character, over a Oregon Willamette Valley Pinot Noir? And can you start to pick those two flavors apart? That's when you really start nerding out on wine stuff. So start looking at the difference between Old World and New World wine. If you're starting to get into wine, if you're new into wine, I would highly recommend starting in the New World. Get yourself some California stuff. It's a little bit more fruit forward. It's a little bit more approachable, a little bit more drinkable. Not to say there's not some great stuff from some of these other countries, but they're a little bit more unique. They're a little bit more challenging when you're tasting. So if you're new to wine, definitely go for some of that New World stuff. Get yourself some bright, sunny California fruit forward stuff. All right, my friends, we're just scratching the surface of wine knowledge here. I know I will have another wine episode coming up, but let's continue to dig in and get into some of this wine stuff. In my binge thinking episode, I want to talk about what are they doing when you see wine people swirling their wine. smelling their wine. Well, swirling does two things, very simply. Swirling aerates the wine. Wine, once it opens up to oxygen, it starts to really open up. It starts to be a little bit more drinkable. So when you're swirling, you see wine drinkers swirling their glass, all they're doing is opening up their glass to a little bit of oxygen, exposing that wine to oxygen, helping to round it out a little bit, soften the edges, make it a little bit more palatable. So the swirling brings the oxygen in. The other thing that swirling does is bring all those odor compounds, the nose, you're mixing it up and you're bringing it right to the top of the glass. So you swirl and then you smell. That's the other thing I want to talk about. I usually put all of my wine, I put it in a decanter. This is a Riedel apple decanter. I put this in here because, again, this is going to get more of the wine surface area exposed to oxygen, which is just going to mellow it out, like I said. So this is just mellowing it out every time you put it in a decanter. So there's a little bit of science, there's a little bit of reason. We're not just swirling our wine to look pretentious. There's a reason for it. Decant your wine. All wines can be decanted with maybe, you may not want to decant your bubblies. The bubbles are going to come off a lot faster with that, although they can still probably benefit from a little decanting, take some of that tinge out. So you want to do that. What else are we looking for? Oh, you hear everybody talk about the legs coming down. What does that mean? Honestly, it doesn't mean as much as people think it means. The legs really have more to do with the residual sugar that's left over in wine than anything else. It doesn't really tell you that much. You get a lot more a sense of what a glass of wine is going to be like by swirling, sniffing, and tasting. Now, we talked about glassware. In the whiskey episode, glassware matters. You actually have a different wine experience when you go for a little higher price or a little higher quality piece of glassware. This is Riedel. Again, I love Riedel stuff. It's a little bit expensive, but this is crystal. And the way that the wine lip is shaped is nice and thin. Feel your wine glasses at home right now. If they're nice and thin, those are a little higher quality wine glass. If they're a little bit more rounded, they're just kind of dumping that wine into your mouth. It's all about how the wine is exposed to your palate. The glassware that you actually use is important. Let's talk about something else as you're getting into the wine. I want to talk about acid and tannins. People confuse tannins. They say, this wine's really dry. It's making my mouth dry. That's tannin. Tannins come from the skin of the grapes. That's what gives you that little bit of dry mouth sensation. People get confused about this all the time because actually dry in wine describes something else. Dry means not sweet. So if you're saying, oh man, this is really making my mouth like, it's dry, it's actually not correct. It's tannic. You're experiencing tannins. So that's one thing that people do when they drink wine. They say, this is let's have a taste of this and see where the tannins are at. I would say this is a low tannin wine. It's got a little bit of that drying effect, but it's way less tannic than I've had. So that's tannins. Acid. The other thing is acid. Acid is kind of that makes you scrunch up your face. I want to say sour, but maybe sour is not the exact right word. It's acid. Acid is what helps cut kind of some of the fruit. Acid is what helps it if it's a little bit sweet on the front end of the palate, but it backs it up with a nice bit of acid on the back end, then you can handle that sweetness. Let's taste the acid in this. This one a real low acidity. Not much acidity in this Cabernet. I mean, a very little bit. Acidity helps with food as well, which we'll get to in the Pairs 2 segment. But you want to start getting an idea of the wine's tannins, the wine's acidity level, whether it's sweet or dry or off dry, like mildly sweet. You know, as I'm sitting here talking through all this stuff, you get the sense of understanding why people describe wine people as wine nerds, because there's so much stuff to nerd out on. There's so much little intricacies, which was part of the fun. Learning about all this stuff that you can think about while you're drinking it. Where's it come from? What's it taste like? What's it smell like? What vintage? We haven't even talked about vintages. Vintages, obviously you grow grapes over the year, and then you bottle them up for that vintage. Well, this year was a good year. This year was a bad year. This year had a lot of rain, i.e. California this year. getting dumped on. How's that going to affect this vintage of wine for next year? Different vintages. This vintage might cost you, this is a Bordeaux vintage, Chateau Lafite Rothschild from 1997. And this one's like $3,000 bottle of wine, where this vintage, the grapes didn't grow. It was a dry year. It weren't as good. Same bottle of wine, same producer, same grapes, different vintage, totally different experience. So pay attention to the vintage as well. We'll get into specific serving temperatures because that's another thing that can really affect your wine experience, is the temperature at which it's served. Your red wines, about 65 to 67 degrees. Your white wine, depending, you can go about 45, 50 degrees. Your bubbly wine, you can go even lower than that on your temperature. One thing that I've heard that I actually agree with is we drink our red wines too warm and our white wines too cold. Our red wines, what I like to do, I keep it in my wine fridge at right around 65 or so, which I just pulled these wines out, and they feel cool to the touch. They do not feel like they've been in the refrigerator, but they do feel cool to the touch, cooler than room temperature. So a lot of people recommend, if you have your red wine just sitting on your counter, if it's not in a wine fridge or something like that, I recommend you pop it in your refrigerator for about 25 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, give it a nice little chill. That's going to help that red wine to kind of like come back down to earth a little bit. The last thing you want to do is drink your red wine too warm. It's going to be flabby. That's a wine term. It's flabby. It's just kind of like too warm. There's not much acidity. It's just kind of like you could guzzle it, which you do not want to do. You want a little bit of coolness on your red wine. In fact, when they say room temperature or cellar temperature, they actually mean like the cellars from the old days, like go down into the cellar where it's noticeably cooler. That's about the temperature that your red wine should be served. Now, why would we not want our white wines as cold? Well, if you really cool something off, you're really clamping down the flavors. You're kind of tamping it down. You want your white wines to be cool, but you want them to start warming up a little bit enough so that they can open up a little bit and you can get that whole experience of the white wine. Your bubbly. I throw pretty much, if I'm going to drink bubbly, I'm going to throw it in the refrigerator. I'm going to let it be there, overnight or whatever. So it's nice and cool on your bubbly. However, what I love to do with bubbly and pretty much all wine, always err on the side of too cool. If you get your bubbly too cool, your white too cool, your red too cool, pour it in your glass and let it come up to temp as you drink it. I think that's a really great way to experience your wine throughout the process at different temperature levels. As it kind of comes up to the temp that you want it, you really get a full experience of that wine. So err on the side of cool and let it warm up in your glass. That brought me to another point. There's a reason wine glasses have stems. There's a reason that we hold them down by the stem. It's not a pretentious thing. You don't want to hold your wine glass with your hand like that, because then your body heat is going to transfer into the glass. It's going to warm your wine up prematurely. You do not want to do that with any wine. You want to hold it by the stem so that it gradually comes up to temperature. So that's why wine glasses have stems. You'll see those little tumbler wine glasses. They're like all the rage a few years ago. That's cool. Most people are drinking trash grocery store wine anyways. I'm not a wine snob or anything, but the tumblers are fine if you're just knocking them back with the girls or the guys or whatever. But if you're really wanting to experience a wine, hold it by the stem so you don't transfer your body heat into the wine. Now, if you're anything like me, maybe you're already into wine, maybe you're just getting started. Like I said, when I started learning about wine, I'm not really sure what happened. It took over my brain. I just wanted to read about wine literally every night, talk about wine, drink wine, meet new people with wine. So I went out and got myself a number of different books. This is one of the best ones, Karen McNeil, A Wine Bible. This almost has too much information. This has so much good information. I haven't really cracked and read this whole thing. I kind of use it as a piece of reference, but get yourself a wine book. Kevin Zraly's Window on the World Complete Wine Course. That would be a really great wine book to start with. That one a little bit more on the beginner level than this. But I would highly suggest getting your hands, if you're like me at all, on some of these wine books. Go to YouTube. YouTube has a ton of stuff about wine. I want to talk about one of the wine apps that I use to do my research when I'm looking at wine. It's called Vivino. I have used this app probably more than any other app when it comes to wine, whiskey, whatever. I use this app when I'm shopping, when I'm researching. You can type in the wine name, it'll bring up reviews, price points. It's got a million wines. You can even just take a picture of the wine label and it'll find it in its database. When you're going to the store, if you don't know what you're doing like I did when I was starting out, I was just looking up all these different wines in Vivino. It's a free app, and it was giving me a world of information. I use this still all the time today when I'm finding out about wines, looking for them, searching them, wondering if it's a great price point. I would highly recommend the Vivino app. It is free. Check it out. It's got a ton of stuff. It is going to help you on your wine journey. Let's talk briefly about my drink of the week. It is a Wente Southern Hills Cabernet Sauvignon from the Livermore Valley 2019 vintage. This one you can find, I call these grocery store wines. You can find the Justin in the grocery store as well. This is going to be on the top shelf. But there are grocery store wines that you can pretty much find all over the place, and most of them aren't that great. They'll get the job done, but they're not that great. The majority of the wines in the grocery store, mediocre. Unless you know what to look for. There are a few that you can find in there that are really good. This Wente at the grocery store, really good. I'm a huge fan of J. Lohr. Most of the J. Lohr bottles in your grocery store, really, really good. Better than most of the other grocery store stuff. Bogle, B-O-G-L-E. You can find Bogle, Cabernet Zinfandel, Pinot Noir. They have a Chardonnay. Bogle you can pick up for like $9.99, $10.99, $11.99 for some of the Bogle stuff. You can't beat it. For the QPR, quality to price point ratio that we talk about on Boozin on the Budget all the time, Bogle is a great place to start. You're going to find it pretty much in every grocery store. The price is right. I'm not sure exactly how they sell their wine at such low prices because it stands up at some of the more mid-level or higher priced wines as well. So Bogle, highly recommended. But yep, tonight I am drinking a little Cabernet Sauvignon, a nice hearty grape. A lot of flavor in there. You want to drink a Cabernet Sauvignon with your steaks, your red sauce, your pasta, anything that's nice and hearty. You may not want to drink your Cabernet Sauvignon with a piece of chicken or fish or white sauce that goes in your pasta. It's got a balls de fuerte. So I just also happen to have this Justin. This one, a really popular one. What I want to do though now is talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, which is what I call dusty hunting. When I started getting into wine, I started learning and looking all over the place. I would run into bottles like this. This is a Justin 2009 Cabernet Sauvignon that I probably got in 2018, 2019, something like that, because somebody bought this Justin Cabernet Sauvignon 2009, set it on their shelf, put a price point of like $12.99 on it, and then there it sat in their climate-controlled, temperature-controlled store. That's important. If your wine gets too hot, it's ruined. But I found this sitting on the shelf, a 2009, and they slapped a price on there. This stuff's way more. This one here is a good $25 or $30 bottle of wine. I found a 2009 vintage. If they've kept the climate right, if it hasn't been too hot, or the temperatures aren't fluctuating crazily, that will do it. Too hot, too cold, too hot, too cold, that'll screw your wine up as well. But I found this dusty bottle of wine at like $12.99 sitting on the shelf. That's a score. This wine has value. This is 2009. It's been sitting there aging. That's the other thing. There's so much stuff to talk about with wine. I feel like I'm forgetting it, but wine gets better as it ages. Particular wine, if it's made well, if the grapes are made to age, if it's stored correctly, it will just get better. It will just smooth out. It will round out, kind of like what it does when we oxygenate it. If it ages well, it becomes more valuable. So this wine has value. Also, what's really cool about this wine is this was the last year, 2009 was the last year where the original wine producers for Justin produced this wine before they sold it off to Diageo or Pernod Ricard or one of these major producers, which we may talk about in the next episode of Wine. A lot of our beloved Napa Valley producers got bought out by these huge beverage conglomerates, which it is what it is. It's still grown in Napa. It's still coming from the same fields, the same terroir, but now it's owned by, one of these huge beverage conglomerates. It's either good or bad. I don't know who you talk to. I love to go for some of the, just like the whiskey, I like that craft, that boutique, that smaller producer, the person who is out there, the winemakers out there actually picking the grapes, tending the fields, doing all that stuff. Personally, I like those stories a little bit more. I won't sit here and knock the major conglomerates either, because they are making fine beverages as well. But that's something that happened, which is why this bottle, I haven't cracked it yet. The 2009 was the last year before they sold to a major conglomerate. So I may open these side by side with some people and see, what we can tell between the vintages, an 09 and a 2019. So there's 10 years difference on these vintages. So again, just so much wine stuff to nerd out with. Maybe I'll open this one on camera for the next time that we talk about wine. Let me finish my point. So what I was saying is, if you are out shopping for wine, you're not really going to see it in your Total Wine, some of your bigger liquor stores and stuff like that. The merchandise is moving too quickly. But if you're going to some of your smaller boutique stores, or even just your random gas stations, sometimes they have these old bottles sitting around. If you see something with some age on it, you see something that is a little bit, they priced it 6 years ago and they haven't taken the time to update their price, then you can get a steal on these bottles. I call it dusty hunting. They're sitting on the shelves collecting dust. Go look for that stuff. Pay attention. You can not only do that with wine, you can do that with whiskey, tequila, all kinds of stuff, because if you're looking out there, you're not only looking for the prices that haven't changed, but you're looking for the stuff that maybe people have started buying up rapidly. Suffice it to say, this was a score. I picked up, an 09 Cabernet at $12.99 that somebody forgot on a shelf somewhere. Look for that stuff. It's like Easter eggs. You can find these Easter egg wine bottles and whiskey bottles and stuff like that. All right, let's move along to my section, pairs with. And if there ever was a beverage to pair with food, it is wine. Wine and food go together like wine and food. I've said it in previous episodes, but if you have a good pairing, it makes the wine taste better and the food taste better. Just in simple terms, you want to pair your thicker, more robust wines with your thicker, more robust foods. Your red wines with some of your red sauce, your steak, your lasagna, that heavy, your beef stew. You want to pair a nice heavy red wine with that. Now let's say you're getting a salad and a piece of fish, piece of salmon or something. Well, you might want to go with a white wine, Chenin Blanc, or even a champagne. Champagne pairs incredibly well with food. That's something people miss all the time. Your bubbly wines are very good to go with food. I just want to encourage each and every one of you, go out, grab you something, spend a little time on the internet, pull up your phone, research whatever you're cooking that night, Asian food, pizza, barbecue ribs. What pairs well with this? What pairs well with barbecue ribs, barbecue pulled pork? Your Zinfandel is going to pair well with that. Take a few minutes, find out what pairs well with your meal, which wine. Go out. You will thank me. You will have an experience with both your food and your wine that you'll never forget. There's a reason people talk about this at length. There's a reason people always eat cheese while they're drinking wine. Cheese is a great way to kind of refresh your palate, cut through some of the acid in the wine. What else? The charcuterie boards. Charcuterie boards are all the rage. There's a reason. You have all these nuts, fruits, salami, pepperoni, cheese, crackers, all this different stuff. You're nibbling and you're sipping. And it's just enhancing your experience. Boy, you think you know your wine until you taste it with some of these foods that pair well with it, and then you're just blown away. So do a little bit of research on that. We could go into pairing. It's a whole art. It's a whole science. There's all kinds of stuff. Heavier food, heavier wine. Lighter food, lighter wine. Do it. Do it! You won't be sorry. Pair it up, man. It's half the fun. I know that I'm going to think of 100 things that I didn't talk about on this wine episode, because there's 100,000, a million things about wine. I only just scratched the surface. Get into it. This is a journey that's well worth it. Again, you're drinking your wine with your meals. You're learning. I met so many good people when I started exploring wine. It's such a social beverage. Just go out and enjoy it and learn. The more you learn, the more you will appreciate it, the better and more confident you will feel when you're going to buy it, and the more you're just going to enjoy it. There's a million different wine types. Learn the grapes, learn the areas, old world versus new world. You're gonna find stuff you like, stuff you don't like, stuff that's gonna challenge your palate. It's tough to start in the grocery store. Man, I hate to sound like this, but there's not a ton of good wine in the grocery store. It's hit or miss. The higher up the shelf goes, the higher up the price. Unfortunately, the better off that you're probably going to find a little bit better wine experience. But do your research. You will find that stuff. I'd highly recommend you going to a boutique wine shop or even just Total Wine and go out and talk to these people. You can probably see my passion about wine in this episode. And when you go out and you talk to the people in the boutique wine shop or the winery or Total Wine, you will find people that have this same passion. And they'll want to talk to you about wine, and they'll want to tell you about their favorite wine. And so it's an incredibly fun world to get into. So go get into the wine world, talk to people, explore different grapes, explore different regions, pair it with your food, and get on the fast track to exploring wine. Thank you guys so much for joining me for the wine episode here on Boozin' on a Budget on Titan TV. We'll see you guys next time.